Imagine you are doing a great masterpiece, a masterpiece so big not even Picasso himself will be able to compete against you. After all the sweat and tears that fell from you, you managed to finish it. You've got art. But there is a slight problem. You have no way or place to show that art. Because of that, no one is going to see it now. All that hard work for nothing. Thankfully, a kind human named Unity saw your art and wanted to make it part of its museum. Overjoyed, you kindly accepted the offer and your great art is now displaying at its museum, together with other people's art. Everyone can see your art now, and what's best is that your art has its own display area. And to that display area we call an editor window. In Unity we have two ways of creating our editor window. One is automatically and the other one is manually. Unity provides us with an option to create an editor window. If we right click in our project window and go to Create, and at the bottom go to UI Toolkit, we see that there's an option called Editor Window. Clicking on it makes a window pop up and allows us to create 3 different file types. We are only going to need a C# script for now, so uncheck the other 2. Name it whatever you'd like, but keep in mind that if you name it editor window, you will need to specify the editor window namespace on the script inheritance, as Unity doesn't automatically update that for you. I'll name mine DS editor window, and when that's done I'll press create. It should add it to the editor folder right away, so open it up and create 2 extra folders. The first one I'll name Dialog System. And inside of that folder, I'll create another one named Windows, and move the DS Editor window script there. Opening it up, we see that there's some default code that creates an editor window already. I'll make sure to update my namespace here as Unity doesn't insert the default namespace in the script template. I'll also add it to the Windows sub namespace. Here we are not going to need the create GUI method, so feel free to remove that one. In our show window example method, we simply update the DS Editor window text to be dialog graph instead. This is the title of the editor window. In my version, the getWindow method already uses this title content equals a new GUI content when passing in the title as a parameter. So I'll send the title as a parameter instead and remove the variable declaration. In our menu item attribute, we can set the path as we'd like for the menu that opens this window. I'll leave the first menu to be window so that it goes inside the already existing window menu, and give my custom path of DS and dialog graph for the last item. Feel free to remove whatever namespace we are not using right now, as we are going to import whatever we need by the time we need it. Our editor window can now be opened through our custom menu path, and if you want to see the title updated, you'll need to reopen the window. That's all you need for the automatic creation, so feel free to skip to the next video if you don't care about doing it manually. You will probably only want to do it manually if the automatic option is no longer available for you. And really what you'll need to do is to simply achieve the same code that the automatic script has. But for those that prefer to go step by step, this is a part of the video for you. In the automatic way, we've already made these 2 folders, so if you haven't watched it, feel free to create them inside the editor window. In the Windows folder, simply right-click in the project window and create a new C# script, which I'll name DS Editor Window. Opening it up, we have our very basic and common monobehavior script. Feel free to remove those methods as we are not going to use them. We want this script to be an editor window, so what we gotta do is swap the monobehavior inheritance to editor window instead. If Unity doesn't recognize the editor window class, that simply means its namespace is not imported. If you are using Visual Studio like me, we can import it by having our cursor near the class or in the line and press Alt Enter, and then you should see Import Unity Editor in the options. If your code editor doesn't support this, you'll have to import it by typing it out at the top. Of course, I'll go ahead and make this part of my Windows sub namespace here. Inside of our script, there is only one thing we'll need for now, and that's a way for us to open our editor window. We can start by doing that by creating a method that will help us out doing that, so I'll go ahead and type in public void and I'll name it open, but you can name it whatever you'd like as long as it's not a reserved name. And inside this method I'll type in a single debug log saying opening. We have now made the method, but we still need a way to call this method, and thankfully Unity makes that easy for us by having an attribute named menuItem. A menu item is simply one of those menu items you see in your Unity top bar, and we can make our own item show up there. So let's go ahead and on top of our method type in between brackets menu item, and here we need to pass a parameter, which is a path of the menu item. If we want our own menu, we type in our own menu name in the first name of the path. If we want it to be inside an already existing menu, we simply type in an existing menu name as the first name of the path. I'll go ahead and make it part of the window menu and make mine a submenu. So I'll type in window, DS for dialog system, and dialog graph. If we save and go back to Unity, we see that we have an error. That's because the menu item attribute requires our method to be static for it to work. So let's go ahead and make our open method static for that. Saving again, we shall no longer have an error, unless you didn't clean the previous one. And opening our editor window through the menu should show the debug log we've typed in. Of course, we want the window to open and not for the debug log to happen, so let's go back to our editor window script and remove that debug log we typed in earlier. In here, we want a way to open up our window. And thankfully for us again, Unity editor window class has a method named getWindow. This method will try to get a window of a type we have specified and open it up. Or if it doesn't find it, it creates a new one. We now have our method that opens up our window, and that works fine. But we might want to update our window title, and we currently have 3 ways of doing that. The first one might depend on your version because it is currently deprecated. That's by assigning the getWindowReturn value to a variable and then update its title using its title variable. Here you will send a string with the name of the window. However, I won't do that because I won't be using this one, as it says it's deprecated. The current way of doing it is by using title content variable instead. This accepts a GUI content parameter instead of a string, which seems to be simply something that accepts both a text and an icon. This is the way we are going to do it. However, we will do that by using in the third way possible. Our getWindow method accepts a parameter as well, and that's our title. By going to Unity GitHub, in my current version they seem to do it with the title content already. Basically exactly the same as we have it here. So by simply passing in the text we want to the method, we do the same as our previous title content assignment. If we save it and go back to Unity, we should have our editor window title update when we reopen the window.